Hi everyone, I'm jeanniedibon and let's get zebra strong. Today we're talking feet and strengthening of the feet. So I get asked many times, how do I strengthen my feet when I've got hypermobile feet so that I can start to rebuild my arches? So many of us might be wearing orthotics to help support the arches, but there are exercises we can do to really start to strengthen the foot. So if you have very flat feet and everything's rolled in, so we call it pronation, so everything is collapsing inwards like this, which would then obviously cause the knees to roll in, so you might be getting knee pain or hip pain or even back pain. It has repercussions all the way up the chain. So if we can do some little bits to stop that pronation, so that if you notice what happens to my feet, when I start to bring them back out of pronation, the knees readjust and the hips open. So I'm going to be helping not just my feet, but also the other joints in the body. So strong feet, really essential. They're our foundations. Now remember, if our feet are flat, unless there's a structural issue there in the foot, that you were born with something, the reason the feet are flat is because the connective tissue has lost its muscle tone. So your feet are muscles. Your arches are formed by the tonality of the muscle. Okay, you weren't born with arches. The arches developed as you started walking as you were a toddler. Okay, so we're not born with arches. That means that they develop because of the pressure that we put on our feet. Okay, so the muscles start to activate and they start to draw the bones up and they cause the arches in our feet. If, however, we have a connective tissue disorder, excuse me, the tissue becomes lax, it loses its tonality, the arches collapse, and I end up with pronated feet. So that means surely that we can change the tonality of our feet to recreate the arches. So we're going to do a little exercise together. There's lots of exercises you could do. I'll probably do other videos on the feet because they are so important. But today we're going to do a little exercise with a tennis ball because it helps with proprioception. You might need a chair or a wall to hold on to. Probably not, if you're a bit wobbly, you probably want to do this on a hard floor. These mats are quite soft and squidgy, so it makes it harder. I mean, it's good for strength, but it's harder. So see how you get on. So what you're going to do is take the ball and you're going to put it between your ankle joints. So just in this sort of little hole under your ankle joints. So you're going to try and hold it. Now that might be an exercise in itself, just holding on to that, because if you're not used to sort of finding your center and drawing things into the middle, you might find you drop the ball, and that's fine. You'll just get stronger and more aware of your ankle joints and where they should be as you get stronger. So I'm going to hold on just to show you. What we're going to try and do is a heel raise. Okay, there are two ways of doing the heel raise. I'm going to show you the controlled way and the hyperextended way. So I hope you can see my feet here. So what we're going to do, I'll show you the good way first, or the controlled way. So if I want to lift my heels up, I want to think, in order to lift the heels up, I'm going to have to put pressure into the front of my foot. So just adjusting my microphone, sorry. There we go. So pressure is going to go into the front of the foot in order for the heel to be released up into the air. Okay, so I have to transfer the weight. So rather than just thinking of lifting the heels, let's think of putting pressure into the front of the foot. Try and keep your toes relaxed and slowly try and lift your heels off the ground. So you can see I haven't gone very high, but the pressure is now across the balls of my feet and I'm having to hold on to that tennis ball. And I'm going to very slowly try and come back down. And the going down is just as important as coming up, because that's your eccentric muscle control. So we do that again. We're going to lift up, nice and controlled. Remember, look how slowly I'm going, because I want to get the control around my ankle joint. If you are holding on, just make sure that the shoulders aren't sort of gripping too much. Okay. So if you do it without holding on, you can put your hands on your waist. So up we come. So it's a little bit wobbly on these mats. So it's much harder when you're on a squidgy mat, but it will make you work harder. And up. Okay, so that's sort of the control version. it's quite challenging. Now, what tends to happen with the hypermobile foot is that we go a little bit too quickly and we like to hyperextend our toes. So rather than stopping and feeling the pressure through the pads of the feet, we go way too high and we end up sort of squashing across here, across this bit. So we make our toes more flexible, which is the last thing we want to do. So it could look something like this. We come all the way up and I'm really up on my toes and my ankles are really, really hyperextended. And then I just drop back down to the ground without any control. So it's more of this kind of thing, lifting the heels up. And you can see there's not a lot of control. It's really quite a lot of work around the ankles. So literally, I'm just pushing that ankle joint up and down rather than involving the whole surface of the foot. So start to open the foot, let the weight spread into the front of the foot so that you can slowly with control come up and then slowly come back down. Now that way you're going to start to build that muscle tone in your feet. Now start off with a couple, especially if it's painful, you know, you're not used to working barefoot, you're not used to working your feet. Start off with 2 or 3. Build it up. You want to, you know, maybe get to 10 as you get stronger. But it's a great little exercise to do, ideally with a ball to start off with. So I hope that was useful and helpful. And thank you for listening. And until next time, stay zebra strong.